Hey all, my name is Nuch,
And my name is Colin. We're MBA students from the University of Victoria.
and we will be talking about our innovative technique to improve data collection and decision making in forest management. But before we do, take a deep breath, relax, and use your imagination to follow our story.
You are a forester in British Columbia. The company you work for is required to reforest every hectare of land they harvest, as mandated by the government.
Each hectare of land can have as many as 5,000 trees, and you usually do 20 hectares per day. That is 100,000 trees to examine per day. That is a lot of trees to look at, and you will often do this every day for 2 or 3 months of the summer.
No matter how much you love the woods, this work is tough, really tough. The trees are 2 to 5 meters tall, and you often can't see the ground you are stepping on.
The ground is really steep and dangerous. The wildlife is another issue. Bears often come to snack on berry. They don't like sharing it with foresters and get aggressive when surprised. Although this job is tough, it is necessary for you to do it. Forest companies rely on young forests to regrow into mature timberlands to sustain future success of their companies.
I'm pleased to announce our innovative strategy for collecting data, drones. Using drones, we can fly over the hazards and examine the forest for the trees. Our venture is called Suave. We use superior aerial imaging for better data collection. We believe there are 5 benefits to using drones as a data collection tool, as we like to call them, the 5S. Superior aerial imagery, it saves money, it saves cost, there's greater safety, and healthier, more sustainable forests. Although this value proposition sounds awesome, it did not just appear from thin air. We had several hypotheses about our solution that we decided to put to the test. Before I went to the UVic business school, I worked as a forester in British Columbia. That picture of the brush was actually me. I had dozens of assumptions that required testing. That said, the most 4 important ones were that safety was the greatest value proposition, 33% of survey work was available to contractors on the island, I thought all forest companies would be interested, and our 4th one was that real estate would be an attractive secondary market for using drones when we were not doing forestry work.
As Colin mentioned, improved safety through less exposure hours is a benefit of our survey technique. All forest companies have mantras like, safety is our first priority, or nothing we do is worth getting hurt for. However, upon interviewing 8 different foresters, we determined reduced cost is the most attractive feature. As we are from Vancouver Island, we will target the companies that operate locally. We had initially suspected that all companies would be interested in our surveying program, but this was incorrect. We identified that Island Timberlands was not interested, as they are a private land company who does not have the same timelines or responsibility as Crown land companies. We also learned that BC Timber Sales is unable to try new survey techniques because of their policy. This market research decreased the size of our target market. Our interviews also shed light on the contract situation. We had initially estimated that only 33% of surveying was done through contractors. However, we learned that companies were downscaling employees, making the actual amount of contract work 50%, which is positive for us as the market size is larger than anticipated.
When conducting the interviews with the foresters, we found 2 companies that expressed greater interest and said they were willing to give us trial contracts. We went out and we purchased drones to do an experiment. We quickly recognized that only high-quality drones would work for better durability and higher resolution imagery. Companies also expressed that they needed to have professional foresters flying the drones, as foresters knew what they were looking for. We're also able to team up with HAF Forest Services and borrow their workers on a subcontracting basis to improve our workforce. To conduct any contracts with drones, we had to become certified by Transport Canada, which was good for developing a safety manual as well as an operations manual. We had to also gain trust from the companies, which we'll talk about more in the customer relationships part. We had to deliver a product that was useful and met the standards of the companies. Without delivering a quality product, there is no point for companies to change their methods. And most of all, we needed to be flexible and willing to take feedback from our clients, modify our service as required, which allowed us to deliver the best product possible. Based on our summer experiments, we recognized a process for acquiring new clients. It seems that a field demonstration was always necessary to demonstrate a proof of concept. Then, upon seeing what we can do, the client would be willing to do a trial contract. If they deemed the trial contract successful, they would then be willing to try a larger contract. Personal selling is necessary on every contract. The contracts tend to be large, and the forest companies must believe that you are the right contractor for the job. Forestry trade shows and conferences are a good way to generate warm leads. We can also ask clients, upon impressing them, to refer Suavair to other divisions within their companies. We have found that warm leads are a lot easier than cold leads.
Our summer experiment was quite helpful in realizing our actual costs. We learned that our major costs are drones, roughly 25%, and the crew to conduct surveys, roughly 60%. Overhead and minor operating costs are only 15% due to our lean business model. Our revenue is generated 100% from B2B model. We make money through conducting surveys as a service and producing reports and recommendations too. Due to much higher production than traditional methods, we have the opportunity for higher margins. Another positive of targeting forest companies is that they have an annual budget for reforestation, since it is mandated by government law. This ensures there will always be a need for this type of work.
In addition to our business model being prototyped this summer, there are a few other findings that we have found relevant to share. Having a team of professional foresters is necessary, as they can speak the lingo and they know what the clients want. They can sign and stamp reports that are submitted to the government, placing the responsibility on Suavair. For the value proposition, clients spoke highly of the imagery and how they could document issues and map them from the comfort of their own office. They believed they are able to make better management decisions for a more sustainable forest. We also discovered that real estate is not attractive. We interviewed around 25 realtors and we produced imagery for about 20 houses. The margin is just not high and the hassles outweigh the benefits. Going forward, we believe we have a strong business model to follow, although there is still much to learn. All of our trial contracts from the summer have been renewed, and we look to continue to target Vancouver Island to grow the company slowly. We must be willing and open to receive feedback and modify our service to deliver the best product possible. We must continue to innovate and modify our model as necessary to remain the industry leader in drone surveying. The technology is rapidly emerging, and we need to grow with it. With additional funding, we would explore having more automation, such as mapping and doing tree counts via software algorithms.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. We are Suavair, and we believe our superior aerial imagery will change the way forestry surveys are conducted.